All right. So let's dive straight into the good stuff. So what we're going to be talking about in this particular session is all around the the vision for your short-term rental business, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day, you've heard it said before, you begin with the end in mind. And there's a reason for that, because as you go down this journey, you can get distracted, right? Because you will find opportunities. For example, there's opportunities down the road of rental cars and artwork and providing additional services and, all of the things. The biggest thing to take away and to remember is that right now, what is most profitable to be focused on is building your distribution network. And it's a distribution network of short-term rentals. Yes, it's distributed, but it's a number of locations that you want to get going. For example, if you think about like Starbucks, for example, as they continue to have a number of different locations, what they distribute through those locations can change and bring various levels of profit and opportunity to them. The same is true here, but it's all relative to the number of locations that you have. So hopefully you are ready to take some more notes, and I'm going to take you into one of the many resources that become available to you as a member inside the roadmap so that you can see some of what we're talking about. Also, as you guys are aware, we have a number of more sessions coming up today, and let me see, day 2, there we go. So we have a number of other topics that we will be talking about, and including going behind the scenes and following the process and tracking your progress, what it is that you're going to be able and, need to do in order to make all of those things happen. And then the next session, we will definitely be talking about the technology. Now, if this is your first session here, or if you've missed one of the previous ones, you can go to the unit section to be able to find it. And so just go right there. That way you'll be able to see them. And if for some reason that is not working out for you, you can still go to the replays at cashflowdiary.com/2-day replays. Will definitely help you with all of that. Now, many of you, you heard me mention the roadmap. Again, as you know, you can go to cashflowdiary.com/roadmap. And so that you can also take advantage of the bonuses. Like I said, we are going to be interviewing your photographer, pictures for your first unit listing optimization, meaning we're going to help you actually describe it, because all of those little things matter. And then 1 year of your messaging as well, because communication is key, as we've shown and talked about. And we want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to take advantage of that. And if you got a few more questions about the roadmap, how it works, and ready to get started, go to cashflowdiary.com/2020. Jeremy and or Robert, they will be there. And they're also in the chat, by the way, so that they can assist you. So is John and Wendy, as well as Corinne and Stephanie. They're all here to assist you and help you continue this process and move it forward. So I want to start this section with an understanding of that. There you go. Trying to figure out which way to point. I want to start this section with an understanding of that. This is a concept by Howard Love, and it's called the startup. The J curve is really what it comes down to. It's an economic concept that tends to come into play when something new is coming to the market. But ultimately, as it relates for you and I, you are in the process of experimenting and dealing with your own J curve, whether you realized it or not, because there's 6 different phases. And the first 4 are the challenging ones, which is where you start when you first start. You got to get through the first 4 to get to the 5th, which is what we call phase 2. And you're going to experience the first 4 during the beginning of the business. It's where you get excited about something and you start, but you got to learn to bring it to market. You got to learn to refine. You got to learn to actually make it happen and ultimately get to this last stage to where you've got scale and you've got the 1 hour a day. You got the revenue and all the things that you are after. Now, to make that happen, what you should do is you should start with a proper mission and vision. So one of the many resources that we make available is literally a step-by-step guide on how to build your mission and vision, and ultimately your internal team structure, which is going to give you the ability to scale and do a lot of the things that I just showed you. So we were talking about the team structure and how to build it, and you're like, man, I've never ran anything like that. And that may be the trick, that may be the case. That's fine, because we've literally given you a process on how to do it. So said another way, when you're thinking about the mission and the vision of your business or the short-term rental world, what you want to do is you want to consider 5 questions, right? And so I'm going to break it down in 5 simple questions in this order. You ready? It is why, what, when, who, and how. I'll say it again, type it in the chat. Why, what, when, who, and how. Breaking down the structure of your entire business that way will assist you in being able to understand your vision for what it is that you have and what it is that you want to achieve and how you want it to look. I'm essentially asking you, what do you want your business to be when you grow up? Because until it's defined, you don't know, and everything will work. And we want to eliminate some choices, and that's part of the reason that we do this. Because oftentimes people will ask, hey, what about a 2-bedroom? Hey, Jay, I got this condo over here. Or I've got, what about I've heard about the what was it? Oh, man. The resort over here. And there's this land over here. And I know this place. The point, the reason this becomes important is because you want to you don't want your operational expenses to get out of control. And they will if you choose to not focus and build your vision first. It's one of the first assignments that you get from your accountability coach, is going through this exercise to make sure that you stay on track, okay? Because getting off track is too easy, and that's why it's why, what, when, who, and how. Until you have done those things, it can be challenging at best to help you move forward, because here's the thing. Clarity leads to power, the power to decide and act. I'll say that again. Clarity leads to power, and the power to decide and act. Part of the reasons that I believe that we have individuals who in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks can actually produce a result to where they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 short-term rentals. Part of the reasons that I believe that, okay, that happens is simply because, well, they're clear. We help you to get clear so that you are free and willing to ignore other things. Now, that's not to say that there isn't opportunity over what you're talking about. That is to say it's completely okay to leave opportunity that you see, that you recognize on the table. Let me say it a different way. Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom, all 3 of those retail chains, all 3 of those stores sell shirts. Do you think Walmart knows that there is a market for more expensive shirts? I think they know that. I don't think it's I don't think it's a secret. Do you think Nordstrom knows that there's a market for less expensive shirts? Do you get where I'm coming from? See, both of them, Walmart, Nordstrom, Target, all of them, they all earn money. It is not about that. And the challenge sometimes when you're first getting started is ignoring that. And being willing to ignore it, being willing to guide or go on the journey will assist you in ultimately getting to where you need to go so that you can achieve it in a shorter amount of time, in a focused amount of time. And that is one of the many, if you will, secrets that we employ, is we get you focused. Narrow it down to 3 different customer types like we talked about, right? Hopefully, you have completed your Who Do You Want to Serve worksheet. Hopefully, you're turning in your workbook as you are getting enrolled into the program. I'm hoping that you're doing those things. Take advantage of the bonuses that are there. Let me see. Got it. And this vision, your story, what the business is going to be able to provide for you, serves as the guardrails. It's the train tracks, if you will, because the train is going to leave the station, but you want to know the destination, right? And if you take the time to define it, then it's just a matter of staying on track, literally, and so that when new opportunities come your way, for example, oftentimes something in a condo or condo association will come my way, and someone will ask me, "Hey, do you want that?" I'm like, "No." But what do you mean? It looks perfect. It's by the beach. It's this, is that. It's all those things. Yeah, but it's still a condo. Now, it's not because condos don't work. It's because condos typically have an HOA that I choose to not work with. See, that is a choice. It is not a part of my vision. And therefore, I am willing to ignore that completely. I don't feel like I'm missing out on something. No FOMO here, right? Got nothing. It doesn't bother me to let that go, because that to me is not the type of opportunity that I want my business built on. I want my business built on the reliable principles of cash flow and making it easy, honestly, for someone else to manage it and run the system that has been put into place without my help. Does that make sense? Because when you ultimately are thinking about it, I know you said you wanted passive income and all this other stuff, but understand, passive income does not mean uninvolved. It does not mean there is no work. It does not mean that you set it and forget it, but you can set it up such that it is easier on a day-to-day basis. You don't work as diligently for each initial dollar that your company receives. And over time, that just becomes a part of how the culture and the operations of the system begins. But it doesn't happen randomly. It doesn't happen by satisfying your desire to, which is usually a desire or wish just to go buy a piece of property. You want to do it in a structured way. Part of the challenge, though, is helping to expand the vision sometimes. So yes, you're going to start one place, and then over time you're going to grow, hopefully to the place to where you are purchasing assets. So I'm not saying never purchase. I'm saying there's a time and place for it according to your vision. So what I want to do is that I want to go through a little bit of math, if you will, to show you exactly what I mean. Because one of the things your vision will do is it will define, like I said, the destination. You should know the answer to this question, or you will know as we go through this exercise. How many short-term rental units do you, not me, you want or need to achieve your goal? So I'm going to give you a sample type of a goal so that you can begin to back into a lot of what I am talking about, okay? So let's grab pen or paper, calculator, that type of stuff, and there we go. And let's do this. And that's the wrong screen. Hold on 1 second. Because my iPad is not there. So I'm gonna do some math. 8, 7, 4. Okay. There we go. So this is what it looks like. So right now, as it currently stands, all we're trying to do is answer a simple question, right? How many short-term rentals to reach the goal? That is the question. How many SDRs to reach the goal? So here's what that looks like. We have to first remember, clarity leads to power, the power to decide and act. All right. So the thing that you want to think about is the end. So I'll give you an example using numbers that are relevant to me. You adjust as accordingly, right? I know for me, what I like to do is when I go into what I call purchasing mode, when I'm ready to start purchasing real estate, I like to try to close an escrow every 60 and no more than every no less than every 90 days. I just like to keep going and being in that mode, that way of thinking. Boom, 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 purchase, purchase, purchase. So that means at a minimum, I'd like to be able to purchase 4 times per year. Okay, so that's one of the things. Again, you don't have to have that type of a goal, but I just want to show you the process of how I get to where I go. Now, I also have to think about, what do I want to purchase? When I say I want to purchase a piece of real estate, what is that? What does that look like, etc. I know for me that typically is going to mean a 12 to 30, I was about to write 30 year, 30 unit apartment complex. Now, I still have more definition to do. For example, 12 to 30 is actually a lower number of units than what I would normally go for, but now I'm going to give you additional qualifier because I specifically would say in Southern California. That is part of what's on the list. Also on the shopping list, cell phone towers. They make great tenants. I want more. Also on the list, are commercial strip centers. Commercial strip or an out parcel will be fine as well. Now, I'm just giving you some of the detail. I'm going to take one of these, specifically this one, to go the rest of the way with it. What does that mean? A 12 to 30 unit building, and I'll err on the smaller side. A 12 to 30 unit building, say hypothetically, not so much, but let's just say that I know that that's available in Southern California for around $2 million purchase price. Now, I am not talking about using creative acquisitions. I'm not talking about all the other things. Yes, I'm aware that it could be purchased with no money, no credit, and all this other stuff because I've done it and it could happen right now. Wonderful. That's not what we're here to do or prove. What I'm talking about is being able to buy one of these 4 times a year. Okay? If I'm going to use a traditional financing situation, and again, I know there's a plethora of loan programs. For the sake of this conversation, can we just call it an 80-20 loan and be done for now, please? All right, that's all I really want to focus on. I'm not even going to focus on the rest of the terms of the loan. I just want to focus on an 80-20 loan, for example. Okay? So if we're doing an 80-20 loan, which means 20% down, I now have to do a little bit of math. And I'll show you the math. That way it doesn't appear as, how do you do that, or mystical in any way, shape, or form. There we go. Perfect. All right. So you know what? I actually want to reverse that. There we go. That's better. So what we're going to do is 20% of 2 million equals 400,000. So if I know, and basically here's what I'm saying. I'm saying I want the business to produce $400,000 every 90 days over and above all other expenses, okay, in cash. And I want that every 90 days. So now that I've got numbers, I'm going to begin to back this into, all right, how many short-term rentals do I need to have in operation in order to make this work? Now, I'm going to break this down using a number for the first time that I'm introducing to you. It is simply the number of beds. So number of beds is way more important. In a normal market, what we would have, what we would have is approximately $800 of net profit per bed. Okay, that's what we have right there. $800 per bed on a monthly basis. So let me say this another way. A 1-bedroom or studio would be $800 a month. 2-bedroom, 16. 3, 24. I think you get exactly where I'm going with this. Okay. So in this scenario, what I'm asking for is that I'm asking for the business to be able to produce $400,000 every 90 days. So now I'm going to take that same 400,000 and divide it by 3, which means I want the business to produce $133,333.33 in free cash monthly. Okay? I think you're following, right? So this is step 1, step 2. Now that I have this number, $1,333, etc., and then for the sake of this example, is it okay if we just round it up to $135K? That's what we're going to do. I'm trying to round it up, $135K. All I'm going to do now is divide that by 800. This tells me that I would need approximately 168.75 bedrooms in operation in order to get there. Simple, easy math. Now, does that mean it's a studio? Does that mean it's a 2-bedroom, a house? It doesn't really matter. The point is now all I'm tracking is the number of bedrooms we have in operation. And I know, and I begin to know that, hey, as I continued on this journey, this is the number I start focusing on. Now, some of you look at that number 168 and like, wow, that's a lot. Cool. Understand it's a function of how frequently I would like to purchase. So let's take this same situation. Instead of saying I want to purchase 4 $2 million buildings a year, let's take it down to 1, right? I just need 1 $2 million building a year. Well, the difference between those two, it's 25% less. All I would need to do was divide by 4. Now, let's look. Whoops, wrong. Let's go here. If I do that, what I did was a 168.75. Whoops, 168.75 equals 4 purchases per year. And now, if I only wanted to do 1 purchase per year, now you remember this from you probably remember this from was it algebra? See, this is the unknown, what we called it x, and then you had to solve for it, do all that cross multiply and then divide, right? That's how I got to the 42.19. So x equals 42.19. You got that one right. Or in this case, 43 beds. 43 beds. This 43 beds, we're right at this exact second, we are at 46. the before coronavirus situation. So we'll see where we end up after. I suspect ultimately by the end of this year will be higher, but also in some different geographic locations. But this is my point. Knowing that, hey, all right, we have enough bedrooms. So if I wanted to buy, think about what I'm saying here. If I wanted to purchase $2 million asset every year and put down $400,000 and then get a $1.6 million loan, in order to do that, if I'm saying that that's the case, then yeah, now I know that that the number of beds that I need to have in operation is 43. Make sense? And then it becomes, now you can start asking your questions. Do I really have to put down 400,000? Can I do all these? Yes. But my point is you build a down payment machine. The down payment machine is the short-term rental business. It also comes with the benefits of teaching you how to actually run real estate long-term. It comes with the benefits of teaching you negotiations. It comes with the benefits of helping you to know how to screen, how to do move-ins and move-outs that you would normally have to do. Now, interestingly, though, with this situation, my intent is once that building is purchased, it too will be a short-term rental building. Does that make sense? That's the plan. That's the goal. That's it right there. When I first saw this business, this is what I saw. I saw that anyone who understood a lease could get started in real estate. That got me excited because you could get a quick win faster. 2, I saw that with the right systems and understanding of how to use them and then training behind how to implement the systems, you could have great success at building a significant portfolio of short-term rentals, providing lots of economic value every month without having to invest an equally large amount of time. And then 3, I saw a down payment machine that would have the ability to keep throwing free cash flow out there to make it happen so that you could buy as many assets as you'd like or as frequently as you would like. See, this same situation that I just showed you, some of you, well, you live in locations where the $135,000 of free monthly cash flow, that you live in locations where, that's you could buy a house every month, or you could actually buy an apartment building every month, or a small one. You could buy many different things every month. If you're because again, a lot of these numbers are influenced because of where, not necessarily just where I live, but the type of real estate I want to own, long-term legacy play, asset transition type of stuff. See, the B and the A class stuff is easier to transition intergenerationally. And so that's why I'm like, cool. We can own higher quality real estate, cash flow it in the meantime, transition those assets easier because there's always someone willing to manage the higher quality stuff. And that's what gets exciting to me. And we have a system, a machine that my kids get to help run, whether they want to or not. They get to help run. And over time, they understand the parts of the quote unquote family business, and we make it all work. Hopefully that makes some sense. And that's exactly why the mission and the vision is important. Because otherwise you don't know when to stop. You don't know what type of properties you're after. And again, there is no wrong answer. In terms of, single family houses or apartment buildings or any of those things. There's no wrong answer. You can't come up with a wrong type of short-term rental. The reason I say that is because everybody wants, it's about the experience at the piece of real estate, not the piece of real estate in and of itself. Because there have been and are all kinds of, and I'm going to pull one or two up, because there's a number of really, we'll call them strange, in some cases, short-term rental sites or locations, places that are being used as a short-term rental. Things that you would not typically expect. For example, there we go. There's a castle, right? I mean, if you really wanted to, you could stay in a castle, or you can stay in a water tower. You can, let me see, where's the other? There's a missile silo somewhere. Hold on, let me see if I can find that one. Because yurts are very good. Igloos. Let me see. There's also been there's the Hobbit house. If you want, you got, oh, that's beautiful in Peru. That is also beautiful. I mean, there are lots of really, oh, let me show you this one, because this is the one that is also interesting. I've still like, what? Are you serious? We've got people who literally put covered wagons in their backyard, and people will stay in the covered wagon. Yep. So the opportunity, I guess, that I'm saying is it's only limited by your imagination. Because if you're going to do the covered wagon play, by all means, guess what, though? The system is still the same. You still got to run a lot of the other pieces that we've said. You're just using covered wagons. Fine. Knock yourself out. Doesn't bother me at all. At the end of the day, it like I said, it's limited by your vision. But you have to choose. If you don't choose, that's when you get into trouble, because everyone tries to just do, you try to do as minimal as possible, as little as possible, and you end up creating a subpar experience for your customer, and then they don't leave you a good review, and then you blah, 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 blah. You want to think about this ahead of time. Beginning with the end in mind will give you the ability to decide. It'll give you the ability to decide. It'll give you good power, so that it's easy. So at the end of the day, it makes sense. Sorry. Okay. I didn't realize. Debbie, FOMO, I don't have any fear of missing out. Meaning, oftentimes when we're first getting started in any business opportunity or investment or what have you, we're like, okay, well, I could do this, but what about this other thing over here? And then as you start making progress down one of the things, you can get distracted by another shiny object. Your boy's got shiny object syndrome real bad. So I've had to combat it. And I can only imagine that some of you probably, if you're willing, you could admit it too. It's okay. This is a safe space. And you want to stay focused, because it is following one course until successful that results in what you're looking for. Yes, multiple streams of income, totally possible, but you build one first. Then the second, but you build that one to be nice and resilient and strong. And that's my point. We build one with a short-term rental plan, and then you can then take that and then, yes, go purchase real estate, and that'll be another. And then maybe you 1 quarter or 1 month or whatever, you allocate those funds to a completely different purpose. Maybe it's a nonprofit. That's fine. That too. But that's also why inside the roadmap, when on our Thursday call, we talk about a concept called Profit First by Michael Michalowicz, but very specifically, it's not just talking about it, it's an implementation call. We actually have people who are trained in it, who help you implement it so that all of your dollars go where you want them to go, when you want them to go there, so that you know exactly how long it'll be before you can buy again or build a second unit or take that vacation, whatever it is that you are ultimately after. It's all structured to give you the result that you're looking for. And Deb, thank you for helping there. I absolutely appreciate that. So let me see. Oh, what is this? I'm lost. 168 steps at an average of 2. I didn't say anything about 2 bedrooms per unit. Oh, yeah, that would be 84 units in this case. Yeah, yep. You began this, I'm talking about 12 to 30 unit. I know I began the example talking about a 12 to 30 unit a building that I wanted to purchase. So let me go back. Let's go back screen, and iPad. That was the prior session. So the 12 to 30 unit building that I want to purchase has nothing to do with short-term rentals. It's saying that I need to come up with a number, an object of desire, a goal. The goal is to purchase a 12 to 30 unit building. That 12 to 30 unit building in your area might be cost less, might cost more, it doesn't really matter. But yes, so what it simply means is that's the object. You could replace 12 to 30 unit building with, I want to have enough money for Olympic training for my child. It doesn't really matter what it is. I just needed a number for something. And I was trying to give you an example of what a goal would be, a part of the vision. These things over here, these are all part of the vision. We took one of them and we said, hey, let's pretend that 12 to 30 unit building is $2 million. Now we need to go generate the $2 million. How do we do that? Or sorry, not the $2 million, the down payment, which is $400,000. How do we do that? We do that by building a short-term rental business. The only question is how many short-term rentals do I need? Well, if I want to do that 4 times a year, I need 168 bedrooms in operation if I want to do it 4 times a year. If I'm okay with doing it once a year, I only need 43 bedrooms in operation. There's no wrong answer. It's just a matter of understanding that if you've got some big goals, you're going to build a larger short-term rental operation. And if you have smaller ones, you can build a smaller short-term rental operation. Either way it goes, what's important is that you just understand how big of an operation you need to build. Because it is not uncommon for operators, especially once you get started, to be approached by individuals who say things to you like, hey, I got 6 floors of a building that are empty. How many can you do? I mean, I've walked a number of these projects and buildings, etc. So that's not an uncommon thing. And if you don't have an intent or a need to build something that big, the sooner you know that, the better. It'll give you clarity. Clarity leads to power. The power to decide and act. And one of the powers of clarity, if you will, is to say no. Period. No, that's not me. That's my friend over here. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. They're the ones who do that type of thing. And that is one of the skill sets you will need as you continue down this journey. So let me keep scrolling. Oh, that's did you type it 3 times? I'm working on getting over this. Leslie, I understand, my friend. I completely understand. I understand. Do you have to do the short-term rental in your area? No, you don't have to. I do recommend you start in your area because there are a number of moving pieces, so many number of moving pieces. I want you to get used to it first. We have a number of people who have 4 hours, 8 hours, international. Yeah, so the location in and of itself is not overly concerning. I want you to get used to it. It's your experience level that makes me nervous about it being too far away. In fact, if I'm being completely transparent, the part of the reason this business model started is because my wife, she speaks more than one language and loves the idea of going to South America and countries down there. And I'm like, well, if we're going to do that, I want to have business and real estate there. And this started out of a desire to make sure that, as we pursue things like that, we have a way to generate an income that is not tied to any one nation's economy and multiple passports, et cetera, et cetera. So it had to be a system such that it could operate at a distance. So until your experience level gets there, I tend to recommend that it be as close as humanly possible because you're going to make lots of trips back and forth. But over time, it doesn't even have to be that much time. You can get to that point. So The goal help. Yeah, that's the idea. I need 27 rentals to hit my goal this year. I'm nervous. Yeah, that's so that you know. And again, I don't know if it's Tasia. I'm hoping that is. 27 rentals is definitely doable in 24 months or less. And yeah, it's definitely doable in 24 months or less. You could easily be in the teens before this year is over. Yeah, with the time that we have left. And the in the beginning of next year, you would spend most of that refining your system before you expand again. And that's part of the process. That's why the roadmap exists, is to help, because we all start these things with an idea of what we need to do. We all start with a game plan. Like, you had a game plan for 2020, and then 2020 has had its own opinion of what is going to happen, and then you've had to adjust. And that's one of the reasons the roadmap works, is because as those adjustments are needed, either geographically or by continent or what have you, we're all there. All the resources are there to change whatever needs to be changed, as it needs to be changed in real time as it affects you. And that's why we do the four live trainings a week. That's why you have an accountability coach, because in a session, what will happen is that you'll ask me a question, I'll answer it and give a number of, action steps. And then your accountability coach will jot down those action steps. They'll put it on your file. They'll send the links to you to say, hey, don't forget, do this, and this. Let's keep moving forward. And then the next time we have another session, which could be the next day, you've taken action. And then we move you forward again, and we move you forward again, and we move. That is how it works. That's why it works. And that's just what we do. That's how you got through kindergarten through 12th grade. Except this time, let's just say that you'll probably come out a little bit better, especially on the financial side. That's the goal. And it's our joy to do it, because I enjoy hearing in your voice when you get your first unit, when you get your first six figures, when you get your first multiple six figures, when you make your first hires. All of those things are exciting for me to hear in your voice, because I know that means now, Tecia, you're one step closer to doing the things you actually care about, whatever that may be. And that makes me feel good, right? I've already been down the road of building a large real estate portfolio, knowing how to do it, and calling myself retired. I learned that that's not for me. That's what I learned. So now I divide my time and teach, because that's way more fun. Let's see if there's anything else before we end. Rentals in the Caribbean. We actually have some, there's a member who's already yes. Yeah, that is a very popular destination, and you are already not alone. We are, I think part of her family is from there. I think that's part of what drew her to that particular area as well. But yes, exactly. As I said, 16 different countries are included. What is the maximum that you have seen for a newbie in 1 year? Well, that's actually right now we are that is being reset at this particular moment. The prior number was 19 in terms of maximum. I will know by the end of June, I believe, where the new number is. I will know by the end of June. So I've seen someone in their first 12 months do 19, which is awesome, right? And that's like, you are borderline seven figure right there. You're borderline seven figures. So yep. That's what I've seen so far. But come and break it. Debbie, come and break it. That'd be okay. Is this really another Debbie? Okay, there's lots of Debbies. Interesting. Seems like a lot of moving parts to be able to achieve. It is a lot of moving parts. That's what I've said. That's why the systems are necessary. That's not that's nothing but skill set, in the same way that, what was it? Vacuum cleaner, a blender, a remote control, a car has a lot of moving parts, unless you have a Tesla, but a car has a lot of moving parts. And yet most of us, I know for myself, I don't know the parts. I don't know all the moving parts, but I know how to use the car to get from point A to point B. I also know how to call Uber. But either way it goes, I know how to use the thing to get to where I go. It's absolutely a lot of moving parts, period. And that's why we come to give you a system and help train you on how to use it so that all of the moving parts move without you having to contribute all of the hours. That's the secret here, guys. That's absolutely the secret. Can you explain how would you I don't understand the question. Explain how you would work a 35 unit apartment building. I don't think I'm clear. I don't understand the question because there's no difference. There's no difference in how you would work can you be more specific? How am I going to work a 35 unit apartment building? I'm going to put furniture in it and I'm going to use all the teams. So in the prior session, Terry, I don't know if you saw it, maybe you didn't. We broke down one second. We broke down all of the people on the team. And that's how I'm going to work every unit building. I don't really care the size. If you can be more specific, maybe I can answer the question differently. With 20 units, would you need all segments of the team that you showed earlier? No, you would not. You would definitely, but you would be driving yourself nuts. If you don't build a team, you end up having to contribute more hours. And that's where it goes. What ends up happening for a lot of people when they're in their teens, they're in the process of building their customer experience team. That's usually where they are. They're in the process of building their customer experience team and they're teeter-tottering. Am I really going to do this? Am I going to commit or not? And what usually happens is you get frustrated with a guest or a claim or something. Something frustrates you to the point to where you go, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't have to. I'm just going to go hire people to do this. And then you finally go. That's usually what happens. And then once you do, then you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? I don't know, but you didn't. And now you're freed up and now you really can expand because once you've built all this, multiple seven figures is just around the corner at that point. Do you ever offer an unfurnished one? No. Not at all. We have been there, you'll get asked from time to time, but not often enough to where it's actually a thing. It's not something we would do at all. So anyway, but like I said, so when it comes to the vision, I love the questions, keep them coming, obviously. But when it comes to the vision, hopefully that has helped clear up some things, that has helped giving you some idea of what it is you're going to begin to build. I can tell that some of you, you're doing the math and you're going, I like that, because that means you're engaged in the concept, in the process. So here's what you can do right now. What I want you to do is that I want you, for those of you who are like, yes, you know what, I think this is starting to make sense. I want you to get over and talk with Jeremy, talk with Robert, go to and get an appointment to actually find out more. There we go. About the roadmap, how it works, how it can work for you. And remember to ask them the question, how can I do this with no cash out of my pocket? Because that's going to be a really, really great question for some of you as well. As a reminder, we are going to be including a photographer and pictures for your first unit. We're going to also include the listing optimization as well as your communication software for the first year and this particular case as well. If you're ready to get started, go over to cashflowdiary.com/roadmap because here's the deal. It's not just a collection of courses. It's 4 days of training every week. They're all recorded. They're all transcribed, which means it's really searchable inside of our dedicated app. You also have a dedicated accountability coach, meaning an actual human. And then we keep adding to the program, but not increasing your cost. We're currently at $15.97 on a monthly basis. Feel free to go to cashflowdiary.com/roadmap and make that happen. More importantly, also know that yes, the price does go up as we add more to it, but you are locked in, which I get excited about. And we go through the process to make sure that you have everything that you need to go as fast as you want. You just have to get clear. And that's exactly why we take this time to help that happen. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said before, I say again, fun talking to you guys. Our next session is, I believe, at noon. Yep, noon Pacific time. And we're going to be breaking down technology, if I remember correctly. So there's a lot of moving pieces, yes, and we're going to just walk you through a lot of the technology. As I've said before, here's an expert tool and here's another expert tool. I don't have any qualms about the expert tools. But I want you to understand, knowing that an expert tool exists does not mean you have it. You don't have it until you have learned how to use expert tools expertly and together to execute a particular strategy. That's what we do. We do our best to make sure that everyone that is willing to show up for their family the way that we do for you has everything that they need to make it happen. And that's what gets us excited. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in just a few more minutes. Feel free to bring a friend on back with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Till next time.